Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of Kitch and Duff talking football stuff. I'm Clayton Duffy. He's Kelly Kitchell. Purdue football with the bye week this week, so a little time to work on a few things, get healthy as the Boilermakers get set for that date coming up next weekend at Iowa. I'm Clayton Duffy. He's Kelly Kitchell. Kitch, what's going on, man?
Hey, just loving life, man. This is the bye week. It's a week to get healthy, so I'm trying to get healthy as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, the podcast is getting healthy today, not only with the video here, because we're always trying to continue to improve our craft and improve our ways of reaching out to you, but also a major announcement here today, episode number 6. Kitch, take it away.
I'll tell you, we are fired up to have our first and maybe my favorite. Obviously, it's my favorite sponsor of our show, and it's my good friends at Stretch Zone. All right, so Stretch Zone, I've got a little reader form. So Stretch Zone, relieve stiffness and soreness, move efficiently and effortlessly, and feel lighter and younger. So quit stretching at home. Let the trained professionals help your body move in ways you never thought possible. At Stretch Zone, the certified staff delivers a life-changing stretch experience to help you move efficiently and effortlessly. Simply put, they do all the work and you get all the benefits. Stretch Zones in the greater Indianapolis area are owned by former Boilers and my former teammates, Jason Lorzell, Ben Smith, and Drew Brees. You can find them at Zionsville at 106 and North Michigan Road, and at Carmel at Clay City Center, and coming soon to other Indy areas as well. So, and they said, come in, mention Kitch or Duff, and you get your first stretch for free, and you get $20 off your first stretch package. So fired up to have Stretch Zone on board. This is something that we've been talking to them about. That it's a new type of way to get healthy in Indianapolis. And I can't wait to get all my stretches in. They told me I'm going to be doing the splits in no time, and I'm going to hold them to it. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Ooh, Kitch doing the splits. Are you sure?
That's right. That's right.
Well, that is fantastic. Fantastic news. Great way to start episode number 6. Can they help us all with just kind of drying out from last weekend with the rain and the muck and the mud from that game between Purdue and Minnesota? My goodness.
Well, they'd have to put me in positions of wringing me out for that to work. I don't know if that's almost a pretzel position. We'll see. But I'll tell you, my shoes are still trying to dry out. I had water above my ankles most all the game, and I think the wrinkles have finally kind of left my hands a little bit from all the weather. But boy, that was wet. That was as wet as we've seen in a long time, and probably one of the wetter games I've ever been involved in.
Yeah, is that a top 5 soaked game, top 3, top 1? I mean, you've played in it, you've coached in it, now you've broadcast in it.
Yeah, I would say broadcasting, that's number 1. Adding broadcasting is probably number 2. The wettest I've ever been was down at in Bloomington at IU, and I believe that was 2001 down there. Antoine Randall was on the other side of the field. We had 4th and 1. I remember coming off the ball. The defensive tackle and I stoned each other right at the line of scrimmage, right at the goal line. We're both spinning our wheels. Neither of us can get any traction at all, and we kind of fall down. We actually didn't end up getting in on 4th and 1. It was a killer. It was a game we didn't win. I still haunts me in my dreams. I still think about that. Sometimes it's like one of those reoccurring dreams where I'm just spinning my wheels and I can't go anywhere. I'm trying to go against a wall, and I still that one still bothers me to this day.
But Purdue goes into the bye week here, Kitch. Now I know known you for a long time, and I know where you live, and you live on the sunny side of life. Now I realize that you'd much rather, and fans would much rather, Purdue be 4-1, but
oh yeah,
Purdue's 3-2 after 5. I'm not real big on math, but the last I checked, looking at the schedule today, there's still 7 to go. So you and the Carter family are keeping on the sunny side of life because I mean, let's go. There's a lot of football left to be played here. There's a lot of opportunities to get to that magic number 6. It's a little early yet to hit the full on panic button, don't you think?
Oh, I definitely think so. I think if we were sitting here and it was you were 2-2 or 1-3, I think you could panic a little bit. But you're sitting at 3-1, or I'm sorry, 3-2, right? After
Yep.
5, three and
Yep.
two. And yeah, if it was opposite and you were 2-3 or by God 1-4, you'd be panicking a little bit. But right now, like I said, there's a lot of games to be played. It doesn't look like the Big Ten West is all that challenging. I mean, I think every game Purdue will be in. I really think, and I do sit on the sunny side of life. You're absolutely correct. I try to at least, but I think Purdue's defense will keep them in every game. Now it's just going to be whether the Jeff Brom offense, which we expected to be much more potent this year, can put points on the board. This defense is going to hold teams in the 20s at the worst case scenario, I think, right? They're going to be, I think the way the offense is going, we're not a ball control offense. So the opposing offenses are going to get 7, 8 possessions, 9 possessions sometimes, so, they're going to score. They may score 3 touchdowns or a couple touchdowns, a couple field goals. They're going to score some when you have that many possessions. The problem is Purdue's got to score in the 20s as well. I mean, it's been 3 games in a row we've scored 13 points. That's not going to get it done in the Big Ten. When you have that many possessions in a game, you got to put more than 13 points on the board. So that's going to be the biggest thing, I think, is if the Jeff Brom offense can get it going and start producing. And the other weird thing here is, Clayton, the turnover disparity is just huge between our offense and defense. So our offense is turning the ball over, and it's not it is a bunch, I guess, much more than they'd want it to be. But the defense has only created 2 turnovers in 5 games, and then we're close on a lot. And I think as well as its defense is playing, I'm really surprised we haven't created more turnovers. So I think that lid's going to come off at some point, and you'll see more turnovers created by the defense. So we'll give the offense more opportunities. But I don't know. You're right. I'm sitting here thinking we got 3 games to win. You got 7 to play. I got to believe we're going to get to a bowl game this year. I really believe that. How it's going to look, it's probably going to look like if anything, if history is any indication, we'll beat a team we shouldn't beat. We'll get beat by a team we shouldn't get beat from, and then it's going to come down to the IU game to see who goes to a bowl game. I mean, that's kind of how it's been the last few years, I guess, with the exception of last year. Is hell, we may go out there and beat Iowa, and then get beat by a Northwestern. You never know. And then it comes down to and then everything else kind of holds serve, and then comes down to the IU game for what's going to happen in the postseason. So hopefully it doesn't come to that. I'd love for us to go on a run here in October and have a great October and become somewhat of a magical year, but the offense has got to start clicking.
Well, I mean, you look at it, next Saturday at Iowa. Now, Iowa has a huge game this Saturday at home against Penn State, top 5 game. Everybody's going to be watching that bad boy. But then Purdue has Wisconsin at home. Do you trust Wisconsin? I don't trust Wisconsin right now. I don't trust Nebraska after the Wisconsin game.
No.
Northwestern's still on the card, like you said. Michigan State's played pretty good so far, but they've had their moments too. IU's a mess. You never know what might happen there. Going to Columbus, not exactly at the top of my list of places I'd want to be in November. But I think other than going to Iowa City, other than going to Columbus here over this final 7, those other 5, why not go get them? I think those games are all winnable if Purdue cleans up what it needs to clean up during this bye week.
No, I think you're absolutely correct. Those, and even, and call me crazy, and I know you will, but we always play Iowa really tough because Iowa lets you hang in the ball games. It seems like
Yeah.
they don't have that explosive where they're going to beat you by 40. Typically, you're always in the games because Iowa, they do what they do, right? And if you're a good schemer, I guess you can really do some damage against Iowa. Now, it's tough to beat them because they do such a good job of controlling the ball and just being very smart, playing smart football. But you're going to be in the game, and I'll tell you, is Jeff Brom, what's his record? You got to help me out with Iowa. It's as good as anybody in
I
his
think he's only
tenure.
lost one, I think,
Yeah, I think
off
we're
the top of my head.
4-1, maybe
Mhm.
3-1 against Iowa.
Something like that.
So yeah, he's as good as anybody against Iowa since he's been here. So um that's going to be the interesting one. I think Ohio State will be very, very difficult. I think the guys will be fired up to play in the shoe, but I think that's a tough one. I think Michigan State's a tough one, but you're right. The others are wide open. And if you can rip off, I mean, let's say we win 5 games and we're 8-4, and I mean, boy, everybody feels pretty good without that, right?
Oh, for sure.
Change
Absolutely.
Christmas.
Absolutely. So, I think I saw, as I was looking through the numbers, last 3 games, Purdue's had 12 drives into the red zone, which is inside the 20. They had 12 attempts at a touchdown. I've only come back with 3 touchdowns over the last 3 games. So
Yeah.
1 of 4, times 3, 3 of 12. So, Kitch, as a coach, your football background, what do you do as a coach, as a coaching staff, when your team is struggling in the red zone?
You have to get creative. This team is not so teams that are really good in the red zone, Clayton, are teams with great big offensive linemen and big backs, and teams that can just really pound the football. You get 3 or 4 yards and you can't stop them on the goal line, right? That's not Purdue. Purdue doesn't have a great big offensive line. We don't have a great big stable of running backs. And so it's almost the way we've been doing it. We're trying to kind of fit a square peg in a round hole here, trying to be power football. Once you get in the red zone, we got to be really, really creative. We got to hit the shots that are there. I mean, I can count, I think, in those, how many possessions you say? 12 possessions.
12. Mm-hmm.
I think we can count, probably, as I can think of it, 4, maybe 5 dropped touchdowns. So I can think of the Sheffield drop. I can think of the Payne Durham drop. I can think of there was one, Jackson Anthrop, that was really close, that was called incomplete. I don't necessarily call that a drop, but that was a touchdown, right? That was called a touchdown, then incomplete. I'm trying to think. I know at least 5 balls that were in our hands that ended up not being touchdowns. Now, so you flip those 5, and all of a sudden those 5 possessions become touchdowns, and we look pretty good. So I think it's just making the plays when you're in there, because we're going to throw the ball. We're set up to throw the ball, but you got to make those plays in the red zone and be really, really good at because there's going to be a lot of hands, a lot of things flying around in there. Teams tend to go, tight man down there and bring the house and try to put pressure on your quarterback and make it see it's hard to run the football. So these guys have got to just start making plays. I think you can probably go back to the film and show all those guys, hey, these we're designing stuff to work. We got to go out there and execute and make those plays. So I think that it's going to come down to that. I don't know that you have to scrap everything. I don't think that you have to come up with a whole new offense. I don't think there's a jumbo package that we have that we can bring in to try to do something. I think it's just to execute on the plays that we have and not drop passes in the end zone and not, miss a block down there. It's just executing down in the red zone.